Hello, everybody, and welcome to the live stream today. Today, we're going to be simulating the month of April. Thanks, Jeffrey, for showing up. We're going to be live streaming the month of April here. And before we hop into the actual games themselves, there are a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. Kind of just in the intro portion of this stream. The first thing is I decided to stream today mostly to show off some scouting. Something that I want to incorporate going forward in this series is just one time per season throughout the regular season. I want to stream, and it'll be a different spot likely every year. Maybe next year it could be in August. Once we make the playoffs, it could be a couple games in the playoffs. Maybe even one of these years we stream the draft. Just at one point in the season, I want to do a stream. And then, of course, we'll do spring training streams whenever we actually have something to watch for in spring training. So, the focus of today's stream, we'll be doing a lot of other stuff as well, but I really wanted to show kind of a more in-depth look into the scouting process here in the first few weeks of it. We're in week 1, and I know I made a whole video on scouting, but in that video I was kind of just telling everybody what I was doing. But you know, in a stream I can tell you why I'm choosing to scout certain players and not scout others. Go a little bit more in depth there. Speaking of the drafts, there's a couple things with it this year. There's 4 things that I would like to get in the draft, and I don't think we're gonna be able to get all of them in the same draft. That would be a pipe dream, but just the 4 things I'm looking for in this draft. Not necessarily in order, just as 4 things I was looking for. An outfielder with a good arm. I think we absolutely need that. We've been seeing way too many outfielders that just have terrible arms. I would like just an absolute masher of a first baseman, somebody that can provide some serious power for us at the first base spots. I'd like a leadoff guy. I still don't think we have quite that skill set, just the high vision, plate skills, speed, steal. Who's not terrible at defense, or he could be a DH, who knows. And then a high floor pitching, which kind of goes into my philosophy for this draft. I think this draft I'm going to be looking a little bit more high floor than I am high ceiling. In the last drafts I've been, gunning for A potential in the first couple. I'm not saying that I don't want A potential. I'd love to get it in this draft as well, and I'll probably take a couple guys who are mostly potential at some point in the draft, but I would really like to get some guys that are a little bit more MLB ready. We have 15 prospects with at least high B potential in our organization, and 8 of them have A potential. 8 are pitchers and 7 are position players. So we have a lot of guys in the minors with high upside. I showed last episode we've got 12 prospects in the top 100. We have a lot of guys developing in the minor leagues, but I want some guys that actually could come up and play for us, even if they don't have necessarily, the biggest upside. It looks like my chat's not working on OBS. I have to look at it over here. Had an idea watching a Padres game this last week. A rebuild sim would be super interesting if you did it Padres style. All position players are former first ups and all pitchers acquired by trade. Could be interesting. I've also been thinking about doing some stream only rebuilds, and that could be a cool idea for that. Found a generational pitcher in your draft only. Indicator I discovered post draft was that his hitting and his home runs were both a solid 50. Nice. So I feel like that would be interesting. I wonder if I don't think they're that for every single pitcher. What I usually notice with generational pitchers is they always have good stamina and always have good strikeouts per 9. I'll have to see though. I haven't actually seen a lot of generational pitchers in this game either. Like 90% of the generationals I've seen in MLB The Show are position players. So with that being said, we got week 1 scouting here. Again, I want guys that are a little bit more MLB ready. That means I want their overall ranges at least to hit kind of the mid 70s, so they have a chance to at least land low 70s or high 60s once they're actually scouted. Enter here Rick Carlisle, who I think shows the ability to be a good contact player, could even show good power against lefties particularly, could be solid against righties as well. All around good offensive player potential with him, and his speed is good. His fielding won't be incredible. Maybe he could be somebody that could slide over to first eventually. I'm going to try my chat again, see if it works this time. Okay, it is working this time. Sweet, so I don't have to look over here. You know, that overall range goes up to 76 with the potential up to 99. At pick number 1 overall, I'm looking for both. We want guys in the high 60s or 70s with the A potential. It's more kind of the picks after 1 where I might be able to be willing to sacrifice a little bit of potential to get a guy who's a little bit more MLB ready. Rick Carlisle, I think will be good though. Chose Central as our first spot here, and I'll show you why. We have Central, East, Central, 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 East, Central. And in fact, we have like 4 out of 5 guys are from exactly Ohio. So most of the time I'll start with international, but just with this specific draft, Central was by far the best region at the top. And then because we're scouting Central pitchers, I always match Discovery with what I'm scouting to start with. So here is our week 1 process for why we chose what we chose, and let's get there. The next thing I wanted to talk about here is I did get a request to change the number for Ethan Salas. So I looked up online and I saw that he wears 12 sometimes, or he wore 12 at one point. So we changed his number from 90 to 12. So hopefully whoever it was that requested that we change that number likes the number 12 a little bit better. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about before we hop into some games here is it might be time to start thinking about trade number 2. I'm not going to make the trade in this live stream, but I kind of just wanted to talk about it for a minute here. I think, you know, Michael McGaffick, after struggling again last episode, both times we've hopped in, that low pitcher clutch has just come to bite him in the butt. And I think might be time to think about packaging him with another player who has disappointed a bit in this series so far, in Zach Veen. Was really hoping he'd be playing for the majors for us by now. Into maybe getting one of those 4 positions of need that I was talking about, and some potential targets for us here in these prospect rankings would be first off, the first guy I wanted to talk about is Russell Aaron. 67 overall, 18 years old, provides a lot of power. His secondary position is first base, especially against lefties. He's going to absolutely mash them. Still looks like pretty good power against righties as well. The plate skills are in a solid spot to start off, contact as well. The thing with him though that would make you hesitate is his durability is 45, and if we were to trade for him, you know, you're talking about our 2 biggest infield prospects having durability below 50. That's a bit risky, so we have to be willing to take that risk. Also, he's only 5'7", which normally I wouldn't care about, but at first base, you know, you're getting a lot of balls thrown your way on these groundouts, and at 5'7", you just don't quite have the frame, right? If somebody throws a little high, it's right over your head. Whereas with a bigger guy, he might be able to go up and grab it. Same with, you know, a little bit left or right. I don't know if that actually plays a factor in MLB The Show. I know in real life, I feel like that's why a lot of these first basemen are big guys. Would that actually result in more throwing errors in MLB The Show because he's so small? I don't know, but it's a possibility. So a little bit of a risky potential trade here, but could be a fun guy to get from the Tigers. The other guy, Dwayne Perry, thought about taking him, ended up going number 20 in last year's draft. Could provide a guy who has, you know, that high floor pitching, the more MLB ready pitcher guy. He could be ready as soon as probably next season. His only struggles is really his control. His durability's in an all right spot, has great stamina, velocity, although his velocity Doesn't really show up as his top speed is 92 mile an hour fastball. Not exactly a problem though, with how good his per nines look. There are a couple other guys that we could go for. We'd have to slightly modify our rules because right now the rules state that we can only trade for people not on the 40-man roster. If we were to slightly modify that to we can only trade for people with no MLB experience, but they can be on the 40-man roster, then that would open up a couple of options. Can I make a video helping navigate the offseason in franchise? Yes, I can make a video on that for sure. I'll put that on the list. So one of the guys that would help with that would be Rene Bautista. He would be that kind of guy that you could see hitting leadoff. He is on the 40-man roster, but he has no MLB experience. So according to our current rules, couldn't trade for him, but if we slightly tweak them, we could get a guy like this. Great speed, stealing, contact, plate skills. Not a good defender, so you have to worry about where you put him, or you could just DH him. And the other guy is Xavier Isaac. Who again is on the 40-man roster. Already has 2 of his 3 option used here, but has no MLB experience, but could be an absolutely awesome first base prospect. And so again, these last 2 guys you'd have to slightly modify the rules for, which I'm kind of up in the air on. I like making it more difficult, but you guys will have to let me know either here in the live stream, or if you watch the live stream afterwards, we can go through it then. So just some potential trade options, as I think it's probably around the time to start considering trade number 2. So with that being said, it is now time to, one sec, I gotta hide my webcam for a second. I gotta figure out how to, there we go, set up the custom game entry options. I just forgot what button it was, and my face cam was covering it. I think we'll go in the middle of high and very high today, with 7th inning as the earliest we'll go in. And there we go. So we're going to start. So for the gameplay, going to be a mixture of critical situations and a couple of prospect games mixed in there. So I do want to see, for our first prospect game, I want to see another Jose Beretto start. He starts here on the 9th. So we will simulate through here, and we do get our first critical situation. Colby Thomas on the plate, Benny Montgomery and Tyler Locklear on the base paths. Let's enter the game. Going against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Here's a look at kind of where we rank in various metrics. We are dead last in ERA, no surprise there. Got some gameplay going, so we'll pause the music here. And I'm going to have to take 1 pitch before we set up CPU versus CPU. Wish there's a sim option included for potential historic moments. Yeah, there's the player critical situations where you can keep no hitters. We should probably turn that on too. Like if there's a no hitter going, or somebody's about to break a hitting streak, etc., etc. There's that. That's kind of the closest thing they have to that. 1-0 here, 2 on, 2 down. Colby Thomas with a long shot here could walk this one off. At the very least, we'd like him to extend the inning. Struck to left field, but it doesn't have the carry. And it'll be wide out to left, like a milestone watch, like somebody's 100th, like 1,000th career hit or something. I don't think that's is part of their current setup, but it would be nice. I agree. So the Pirates do hold on. David Bednar closes out the save. Taking a look at what we did, we only had 5 hits in the game. Not a great offensive performance for the squad. So let's see. So we have not won a game. So we swept the first mini series here with the Cardinals, which would, you know, theoretically be the Korea series, but in the game it's just a home and an away. We have not won a game since. We're now 2-13, 13 straight losses. So our major league team is going to be terrible, and they should be if you take a look at where we rank. 30th rank, 30th contact, 30th power, 30th pitching. Those are kind of some pretty important areas to be dead last in. So I want to take a look at another Jose Beretto game. So we're going to do that today, because it was fun watching him pitch last time. Aha. We can choose the Copa uniforms again. I think they look nice, so I'm going to do that. It's going to be a rain day today, it looks like. Hopefully it doesn't cut short Beretto's start. Jose Beretto pitched 6 innings, 5 strikeouts, no walks in his first ever professional appearance. And here we take a look at his second one, going against the currently undefeated New Hampshire Fisher Cats. Kyle Brown, another guy that we could take a look at today, struggled last year. Off to a pretty good start this year, though. At least he was when the stream started. He might have... You know, there's been a couple of games since. Going against Ricky Tiedemann, who was somebody that I was looking at as a trade target as well. He's one of the best lefties on the market. If we were looking for lefty pitching, he would be high up on the list of potential targets. That's only if we're really looking at lefties. If you're including righties, I think there are better options. There's apparently a problem with our lineup because they made a defensive substitution as soon as it started, so we might need to change that. Here we see Jose Beretto. There's a lot of pressure on this guy to be a very good pitcher at the moment. He is by far the closest we have in the organization to actually making it up to the MLB, especially if we end up trading Michael McGaffick, because it goes Beretto at 74 overall, McGaffick at 69, and then the next highest, you know, high potential pitcher is like 63 overall. So that's several years away, which is why I'm very interested in some higher floor pitching here in this draft coming up. Starting it off with a strikeout is Beretto. Old-fashioned windup, yeah. It's kind of fun. A little bit of a throwback for Jose. Very unique, which is what I really wanted from the windup. That's actually what he just had. I didn't even need to change his. I changed Anton Hernandez's because his windup was super generic. Jose Beretto just came with this windup. So a man on first, trying to throw him out, but it's not going to happen. Ball 1-1 the count here for Plaza, who's hitting really well. 357 so far this season. That one fouled off at 96 miles an hour. That's pretty much the fastest Beretto can get to with his current velocities. This one will get down for a hit as well into left field. Second hit allowed for Jose. Puts a man in scoring position. He is pitching clutch is much better than Michael McGaffick, so hopefully he can still get out of this inning without too much trouble. It's a pretty good pitch. It was right on that inside edge, but got down for a hit. Not a very hard hit ball. A lot of the hits he's allowed are just soft hits, just unlucky they find the gap. He's not allowing a lot of hard contact, which is what his specialty is. He's the guy that's, his whole game right now is to pitch for soft contact. We've seen him throw a decent amount of strikeouts, but that's not really his strength. Getting behind 2-0. Would love a ground ball here. Into a double play. Fastball in there for strike one. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Barofin, I would guess. Hitting under the Mendoza line. Beautiful throw there. Doing a nice job staying on the edges of the strike zone so far with most of his pitches. That changeup wasn't particularly close. So it's a full count. Don't want to load the bases here. Let's see the double play.
That's the ball. Take your base.
All four loads the bases. Gotten himself into a jam here. His first walk allowed. Doty hitting excellently for the Fisher Cats. 1285 OPS early on, already 3 homers. This is not the time to get his fourth.
1-1.
There's that slider out of that pitch after his first start. So, doesn't have very good control on it, so we'll see how often he goes to it. His best pitch for control by far is that changeup, which we saw him put on that outside edge right there. Strike three swinging. Totally just lost the ability to speak there for a second. He has 2 outs on strikeouts. Now just needs to retire Santiago. This lineup's hitting very well. Just all together, except for that guy in the 4 spot who we allowed the walk to. In the dirt for ball 2, falling behind again. Come on, Jose. That one was dangerous. All right, couple of foul balls. Put us in position. We could get strike 3 here. Can we strike out the side? Not there. Just gave him a compliment for, you know, staying on the edges of the zone. Now he's starting to get things a little bit more over the middle. And there you get it. Swinging strike 3 for the 3rd time in the inning. Beretto is out of the jam. Had to throw a lot of pitches there in the inning, but gets the no-run inning despite the bases being loaded with his 3rd strikeout. Nice job battling through that by Beretto there. GG's indeed. I was a little stressful there, especially because he left a couple of those pitches in a very hittable spot with the bases loaded. Another guy just absolutely mashing. No wonder these guys are 5-0. Their offense has been absolutely killing it. So a good early test for Jose Beretto. This offense has some serious juice to it. Would love just a clean 1-2-3 inning if we can get it from Beretto. One that He can get through in about 10 pitches or so. Good start there. Hot fly to second. There you go. Finally, we're getting to the bottom of the lineup where the guys aren't hitting so well. Good throw in there for strike one. Now ahead of the count with the slider. Low in the zone. Hostetler's staying in this one. Let's get strikeout number 4. Good afternoon, Von Rye. Surprised to see you in here. I thought you had volleyball reffing all day. That one gloved by Beretto, and out number 2 acquired here, bottom of the second.
Batting ninth, the first baseman, Michael.
Oh, a generous call there on the changeup above the zone. I'll take it. Not today, Saturday and Sunday. Gotcha. Ciccone retired there, so a much more clean inning in the second for Beretto. That's what we like to see. Let's get to the third. That's the kind of inning I really needed to see from Beretto. That's going to help him hopefully last a little bit longer here in the game. Bookkeeping course stuff. I went to school for accounting. I didn't end up actually taking a job in bookkeeping. But I know the feeling of bookkeeping schooling. Oh, come on with that call. You got a generous one last inning though, so we'll call it even. And then he pitches it in the exact same spot. Like exact, and it gets a strike the next call. Which again I can't complain about because that is the correct call this time. Soft contact to right field. And is gloved easily. 5th straight out here for Beretto. We're up in this top of the order now, which has been deadly so far early this year and was giving Beretto a lot of problems in the first. Another softly hit ball, though. Kyle Brown able to range back and snag it.
Now batting, the third baseman, Ryan.
So the strikeouts have slowed down for Beretto, but as have the base runners. I think I'll take that trade-off.
Ball.
1-1 for Plaza.
Ball. 2-1.
Two-seamer at 89 miles an hour. Called for ball 2. Ooh, that was the first ball that was hit hard. Just way foul.
Ball.
Here we go, full count pitch. Beretto?
Ball 4.
Oh. I think that was a pretty nasty pitch, but put it up to the umpire. He called a ball in that area before when it was even more of a strike, so would have been a nice strike 3 to get though. His second walk allowed here. And then that's a strike. So we should be throwing on that outside edge a little bit more. Being a little bit more generous on that side of the plate. Offrin, he walked in the first inning. Foul ball will make it strike 2. Let's strike him out. Hitting below 200. Showing some pretty decent discipline, though. Not saying that was a particularly hard pitch to take. This one grounded to short and easily touching the bag. The second... I guess, no, that's incorrect. That was not a 1-2-3 inning. He did allow the walk.
Take your base. You're out. 3.
Still just the 1 run scored by the offense for run support, but so far that's been enough. Would love them to tack a few more on, though. Only 92 miles an hour on that fastball. Curveball just misses.
Ball 3. 3-0.
It's pitcher's duel. Yeah, it is. I mean, Tiedemann is a really good pitching prospect, so that kind of explains the low offensive output today. Everyone who's in there in the stands definitely knew what they were coming for. Number 1 pitching prospect in baseball. And the number 1 lefty pitching prospect in baseball facing off against each other. The third walk. I mean, Beretto allowed no walks last time. Here he's allowed 3, which he has a pretty good walks per 9 rating. So it's a little bit of a surprise there. Nicely located ball there for strike 1. There we go. Finding his control there low in the zone. Ooh. Just missing. That would have been a nice strike 3. Blame the rain. Yeah, could be a factor. There's the first well-struck ball of the day for the Fisher Cats. Is that going to score a run? Yes, it is. This game's tied at 1 apiece. Eventually, Beretto is going to allow a really solid hit here. That one was absolutely cracked to left field. Allowing all these walks is gonna bite you eventually. And it finally did here in the 4th. The rain could be a factor in a little bit of control problems he's had at times.
No, that's too high.
A lot of these are just missing, though. There's only been a few that have been just well outside the zone. This one caught over in right field. Runner will hold a second. And we get through the inning without allowing that extra runner to score. That is the question. Don't want to give up the lead here, because Tiedemann's been pitching pretty well himself. Curveball outside. That one was one that wasn't particularly close. He has gotten guys to swing at the curveball well outside the zone before, though. Fouled off the slider. Come on, Jose. Show us something here. Nice. There we go. Got him swinging on the slider outside.
The first baseman, number 9.
Now we got the 9-hitter up. Jerconi. 0 for 1 so far. Starts his AB with a foul there. Fouls off another to get ahead. 0-2 for Beretto. See one more strikeout. Pitch count already getting up there in the mid-70s. Probably only see one more inning from this guy, and he strikes out looking. He's actually done a good job racking up strikeouts here in his first 2 starts. And that's kind of what we want to see. He's probably not going to strike out a ton in the simulation, so when we hop in and watch him, I want to see those strikeouts. And that'll hopefully help get his K per 9 up a bit. No runs scored by the offense, so it will remain a 1-1 ball game. Top of the order, back up here for the Fisher Cats. A much better job with them for the most part through their second time, but this one squeaks through the diving glove of Kyle Brown for a leadoff single.
Now batting, number 43.
Beretto low K. Yeah, he's got 49 strikeouts per 9, which is his worst per 9. It's not that low, though. I mean, to have your lowest per 9 be 49. Isn't terrible bad. One more base runner, it might be the end. Yeah, he's getting to the point where we're nearing the end of his second start for sure. Hoping he can last this last inning, excuse me. If he can get a ground ball double play here, that'd be pretty huge. He's trying to get it there with that low changeup, but Shaw just missed it entirely. Low Ks will require good defense. Yeah, luckily we don't have any terrible defenders yet of the guys that we've drafted. We haven't found the guy that's going to be a DH, you know. Nobody's excellent defensively, though, either, as we get a strikeout there swinging on the changeup. So now a ground ball double play could get him out of the inning entirely if we can get it from Plaza here. I don't imagine he comes out for the 6th, though, no matter how this inning ends. I could be wrong, though. The managers in this game are so inconsistent. Come on, you got to give us that. Sometimes I'm like, how are you pulling him this early? And other times I'm like, how is he still in there? I've had to manually pull. The first time we watched McGaffey, I had to manually pull him. Yeah, I don't know why Arenado is struggling so much in your St. Louis franchise. It's kind of odd. I mean, he's notoriously the best defensive third baseman in baseball. But he can't field anything for you in your franchise. It's kind of funny. Pitching analytics are fun. Shout out Tampa Bay with Blake Snell. Pitching analytics are fun. I agree. Just beats the runner there, so it will be an out. But it advances a runner into scoring position. Blake Snell. Are you talking about who he signed with? Wasn't that the Giants? Are you saying when he pitched against the Rays? I haven't watched baseball the last couple of days. Watched a lot of the opening weekend for sure. But there you go. Beretto gets through the 5th. We'll see if he comes out for the 6th. I would hope not. Had the playoff run and he got pulled in the 5th inning. I see what you're saying. His energy's running low. They will keep him out here for the 6th. 89 pitches in. This could be a mistake. We'll see though. Still has some energy left. He's not completely drained. And the coach's reason was analytics. Gotcha. Like what, his fastball was starting to go off, or he was hitting more of the plate. Well, yeah, they emulate that here in the show pretty well because it is so inconsistent. I wouldn't have put him out here. There have been a couple of times where some guy gets pulled. And I'm like, why is he already out? I don't get it. He has energy. And he's been pitching pretty well. He just allowed 1 base run. And then they're like, nope, he's out.
Ball, no. 2-2.
It's happened a couple of times. It happened with Dolander. I think in season 1 one time. There we go, strike 3. That 4-seamer is down to 91 miles an hour. So he's definitely running out of gas. His normal range is 92 to 96, so it's below even his lowest range when he's full energy right now. That pitch was right there. It happened to Dolander where I think he got pulled away too early. It also happened to Michael Kopech earlier this season in our opening day episode. He got pulled a little too quickly. Ground ball there. All right. Only needs 1 more out to get what would be considered a quality start here. 6 innings. Can he get it in under 100 pitches, though? He would have to get the out right here.
No.
Not going to happen. He's going to throw 100 pitches today. Foul ball there. Evens up the count 1-1. All right, let's go. Strike 3. Let's end off the inning. 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run. I'd take that.
Ball.
Not going to happen yet. He's got to be absolutely gassed by now. Just get my boy out of the inning. Well, De Los Santos is being really challenging right now. Fouling off everything.
Full count.
Hostetler's up next, and he's absolutely terrible. But I imagine if he allows a walk here,
That's the ball.
it'll be the... Are you kidding me? This guy is terrible.
Now batting.
He's legitimately terrible.
Your attention, please. Now,
Well, real people know that he really pitched 6 full innings, not 5 2/3. That was strike 3. Didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this. Let's just get through the game. And we lose in extras. An unfortunate end to the day for Beretto, allowing his 4th walk. Cost him the quality start. Just a terrible umpire this whole game, really. Inconsistent. Like, at least be consistent. That's all I ask. If you're going to call stuff a certain way, do it every single time. This guy was not consistent at all. So taking a look at him now, 4 walks allowed. ERA and whip still look good. And 12 strikeouts in 11 2/3 innings. Still looking very good. It should be 12 innings pitched and 13 strikeouts, though. We know. We all know what he really did here today. Let's see if we get a critical situation. We don't before week number 2. So let's take a look at what we have discovered here after 1 week with Rick Carlisle. Probably too early to really check in on anybody else. He does have first base secondary position, but that overall just dropped to a position that you're not taking at number 1. His max overall is 66. His max overall potential, is 89. Some of these ratings still look solid, but it's just when somebody drops 28 spots in your team rankings, not going to be worth a additional week of scouting. So, again, what are we looking for? We're looking for an outfielder with a good arm. We're looking for a masher first baseman, somebody that can hit nukes, or we're looking for a potential leadoff guy. And those are the 3 things we're looking for. Alfonso Cedeno, more likely to be a B potential guy than an A potential guy, but could be a guy that gets into the 70s overall. He's got a really big arm. This guy could be that outfielder with a big arm that we're talking about. Also provides some speed. Now, take in mind here, when I'm scouting somebody, I never look at the future column. Don't ever look at the future column. It's always wrong. This guy won't be a good example. Let's go to a guy. Let's just go to Prescott here. These future ratings never are even close to accurate because if you look, this said his speed is going to increase by 13. If you look at his rankings there, your speed is never going to increase by 13 in MLB The Show. It's just not going to happen. We also know this guy's going to be a bust just because his overall and potential spreads are right next to each other. But so just ignore future. Only look at guys, look at their present columns and ask yourself if you would be comfortable with that starting out. Now, his overall range goes all the way up to 85. He's unlikely to be higher than 75 overall. They did add in this game that guys that are 21 years or older have a higher likelihood of getting into the high 70s, so he could be. But just for the sake of being 99% correct, he's probably not going to be over 75 overall, so all those present ratings are going to be at least 10 under what his present max is. But even if all those are nerfed by 10, I still think he can look like a pretty good player. So I'm going to give him a week of scouting here. And then we'll take a look at the pitchers once we do another week or 2. So my question is, what other prospects do you want to see today? Some obvious candidates. Sterling Thompson would be a good candidate. Kyle Brown would be a good candidate. Brian Doe, of course, as well. Kind of want to see some position players because we looked at pitchers all of last episode. Seen some catchers with first base, secondary. Yeah, we'll be looking at catchers as well. We'll be looking at first baseman in the draft. That's kind of what I've seen. I feel like catcher and third base often have a first base as the secondary position. Older guys. Yeah, that's oftentimes true, but they did add in this game. You can get like guys in their 20s that start out already like 79 overall. They're not generational, but they still have really good starting points. So you got to be on the lookout for those guys. They're rare, sure. So I wouldn't believe a range like this down the board, but the fact that he's MLB ranked 3 means it's a possibility to me. Is there a high likelihood that we're wasting this week of scouting? Sure, but because he's 21, we'll know in 1 week 100% what he is. And I'm fine to use 1 week to see if he's one of those rare guys that does have the good overall. So we'll go... Let's go through here. Johnny Brennan sustained an injury 1 to 2 weeks. We're on the 2-week injured list. Logan Cerny, I think we're going to move him to the 60-day. Here we go. We got a critical situation. John Curtis. trying to seal the deal. That's why I like Von Rye with the ranges. I know he's going to be at least 10 overall less than his... Well, we don't know, but we're pretty certain he's going to be 10 overall less than his max range. So that's why I took all of his ranges. I subtracted 10. Would I still be comfortable with all of his stuff if it was down 10? And I said yes. That's why I was willing to scout him. I kind of factored in already that he was going to be nerfed a bit. I still kind of liked it. So we got a man in scoring position, no outs here. Rockies lead by 1 on the road against the Cubs. Division rival of the St. Louis Cardinals, who Von Rye is currently rebuilding over on Twitch. Puts his VODs up on YouTube as well. So far been a fun franchise. I'd recommend checking it out. Nice pitch there for 97 miles an hour, top of the zone. The runner is in third. And it's past the glove of first base. This game will be knotted up a piece. That's why I said the stud starting pitcher in your franchise. Well, here's how. I'll just tell you, this won't matter to anyone other than Von Rye right now, but I'll quickly say why I know he's going to be either a 77 or a 78, because sometimes the overall formula is off by 1. So when you hadn't had him scouted, right, his gap was 0. It was 65 to 99 potential, 65 to 99 overall, right? So the gap's 0. As soon as you start scouting him, his gap jumped to what is it, 22? Generational players are the only guys that have their gaps jump like that once you start scouting them. Pete Crow Armstrong gets a hold of this one. It is caught by Jordan Beck. Thought for a moment it might leave the park. Game's not over yet. Still tied. Bottom of the 10th. So even with you don't even, I mean, you're going to finish his scouting just because you're going to scout central pitchers for 5 weeks. But that's how you know he's generational already, because if he wasn't, that 0-point gap that he started out with would carry with him wherever he was going. Swing and a miss for strike 2. Nico Horner, let's get back into the commentary for this game. You could be emotional on stream. I think it's funny. I was cracking up in your first stream. That's why I like watching Bengal for Madden as well. I think it's funny when guys rage. Two and two. Yeah, that's the tricky part. I feel like pitchers fall less often than position players, intergenerational. But it's still possible, because anyone that scouted him just a little bit is going to have him fall on their board too. Let's finish this one up. Michael Chavis on with, it looks like Ryan Bliss. Yep, Ryan Bliss on the base path. Unfortunately, we don't have any generationals. You always want a generational prospect when you pick one. This might be the only time in the franchise that we pick one. And so... loves a good Von Rage. Hey, that's a good name for it. Chavis just foul. That would have definitely brought home the go-ahead run. And that was so close. Look at this. Oh my gosh, like an inch of brown. The first baseman that you found in Discovery? Is that who you're talking to? Talking about that's pretty dope. I don't think I've ever gotten a Discovery player up to 99 overall. That'd be insane. Hoping we can find a sweet Discovery player this draft. Last draft was a little disappointing for Discovery, honestly. We ended up having a pretty good draft even without it. Antonio Hernandez was like the one guy that was Discovery that was good. We ended up getting him down the board, so that was helpful for us. Benny Montgomery looking to bunt the runners forward here. It's going to get one out, and it'll be safe. So he advances the guy to third. Runners on the corners. I was kind of awkward because Chavis at first, you know, they couldn't really run because there was a chance I was going to get caught. It wasn't a great bunt. We'll just say that. Hung in the air a little bit longer than you want to bunt to. Nice. Fouled off here. Max Anderson. Have not seen much of Max Anderson at all. He only plays against lefties. And he lifts this one deep to center. That should be taggable. And the Rockies do bring home Ryan Bliss. Adding a little bit of pressure here to Chicago. We're the bottom of the 11th. Trying to steal here, and he's in by a mile. This is Benny Montgomery. Yeah, that one was not close. You like draft-only franchise because you get to have completely different fave players. Oh, no, he's trying to steal third. Why? Why are you stealing third? There's 2 outs. A base knock brings you home. And there's 2 outs, so there's no such thing as a sacrifice fly. There's no reason to steal third. Yeah, I like draft only because it adds a lot of a challenge too. Like, when is this team going to be a playoff team? No sooner than year 5. Yeah, already in scoring position. You guys have the same reaction I do. What was the purpose of stealing third there? Only when you have 1 out or less is it. Patrick Wisdom is not going to bring this one out. It looked like they'll get the runner to third, though. So we need a strikeout here or an infield fly. What a stupid decision by Benny Montgomery or the third base coach to call them over, whichever one. I had totally lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. Just draft-only franchise. And MLB, out of all the games that I've tried it in, is easily the hardest. Madden's the easiest. 2K we ended up doing it in 5 years. But I think we kind of got lucky. We got lucky in the lottery. Going home. And he's out. The throw by Murillo wasn't great, but it was good enough. any tips for finding two-way players? So I have not found any myself. But once you get a pitcher to 25% scouted or more, you'll see secondary positions on them. So I think that's, yeah, that was a huge out. Wish Murillo had a little bit of a better throw there, but it was good enough to get the out. And now we have a chance to win here with 2 gone. I don't think there's any indicators prior to that point, Ian. You just have to get lucky. They're pretty rare. Also, from what I've seen a few. I haven't seen a generational one. So I assume they would be good. But I've seen a couple that like are not generational, but are two-way players. Ian Happ thought he had a walk there, but it'll be strike 1. Full count now. Payoff pitch for Curtis. This could be for the win. Ian Happ could also make it be for the win for them. Either way. This one lifted to left and gloved by Jordan Beck. The Colorado Rockies come out victorious here. Yeah, they're pretty rare, but if you don't get a generation one, they're also just terrible. Like their hitting ratings are in the 30s or sometimes even in the 20s. And so when they're starting pitcher, you're only ever going to DH them, but you're not going to put a guy with the 30s ratings in their hitting at the DH. So a little disappointing. They added him as this cool thing. It's a reliever with C potential. I haven't actually seen it with a reliever. I've seen a couple starters that are like low 60s overall with mid B potential and they're two-way. But yeah, their hitting is just so bad. Rafi Murillo with a home run in this game gets player of the game. They add it as this cool, like, hey, there's two-way players, but they made him so terrible. I've been looking, though, to see if there is a generation one. I haven't found any generation one, so I don't know if they're any good. Let's get a prospect game in, shall we? Sometime this week. Who do you guys want to see first? I'll just candidates. Sterling Thompson, Kyle Brown, or Brian Doe. Those are the 3 options. Who do you want to see first? Probably see 2, if not all 3 of them at some point today. We'll probably do like 2 or 3 games. Doe, Brown, Thompson. Now there's a little bit of delay. I don't get Brown and Doe. Okay. Let's do Doe first. Doe is in AAA this year. Doe is probably the next position player that's going to make the jump. He still has some pretty defined weaknesses. Actually, let's just take a look at his player card a little bit before. We'll hop into Brian Doe. With Zach Veen's struggles, and he's off to a cold start in AAA as well. Okay, so there's 2 votes for Brown. So we'll watch Doe in a minute. We're going to audible. We're going to do Kyle Brown first. We'll go to Doe at probably next week. Kyle Brown is the vote. He's another guy who could be pretty close. If he continues his hot start in AA, he'll be in AAA very early on. He started off really hot, which is exactly what we wanted to see. He struggled last year. Wanted to see him turn things around, and he absolutely has to start this year. Good contact, good play skills. 80 clutch is really good for him. Solid defense. Playing shortstop for us at AA this year. Let's watch a couple games of him. And here we go. Kyle Brown hitting in that 3 spot, playing shortstop, 364. Aaron Shunk also hitting 367. And then Braylon Wimmer at DH at the 9 spot, hitting 385. Yeah, he doesn't quite have like the speed. Also, I feel like, you know, if you have at least solid guys at 8 and 9, I just feel like he's got the best clutch on the team. So I'm really wondering where Kyle Brown's going to best fit in the lineup. He's got the contact you want for leadoff, not necessarily the speed, though. He also has the clutch that you want him batting behind some of the better guys in the lineup. So, yeah, I think the 2 spot, like you're saying, Von Wright, is a good spot for him going forward. We'll just have to see. All right. Let's simulate here to Kyle Brown. 2 gone here. Bottom of the first. 0-0. Kyle Brown. He was the 4th round selection for us in year 1. That draft was awesome, I gotta say. Murillo, Doe, and Kyle Brown. All guys that could be major pieces for us at position player spots in this franchise series. We also got some pitching. Michael McGaffick, turns out he wasn't as good as we were hoping for. We got a potential closer of the future in that draft as well. So Kyle Brown with a single there. But that no one could follow it up. So he was stranded on the base paths. There we go. Anytime you get 2 to 3 good hitters in a draft, yeah. I mean, honestly, like the over-under for good hitters in a draft is like 1.5. So to get 3 is really solid. So we've got 2 on here. The clutch will come into play for Kyle Brown as there is a man on scoring position. And that's what really excites me about him. Yeah, 2 or 3 chances of getting the prospect incentive. I definitely want to pay attention to that because the extra draft picks are awesome. Rafael Murillo could absolutely and hopefully will. Rafael Murillo and Ethan Salas. One of those 2 is probably bound to make Rookie of the Year, right? Unless it could be Jason Lindsay in our own division. Yeah, I understood what you're saying. The prospect incentive, promotion incentive. So yeah, we want to time out. We want to time these guys correctly. I think it's worth it to get the extra draft pick instead of, you know, manipulating service time. And unfortunately, Kyle Brown not going to be able to bring anyone home on the full count pitch. Yeah, I mean, this year we have 3 picks in the top 40. I love it. We could be getting stuff like that consistently if we're timing up our call-ups right. You know, if we bring somebody up in September, get enough so they don't accrue a rookie year, then they're up for the full year the following year. That's something that we're probably going to be doing often because of that prospect promotion incentive. It's just absolutely worth it to get extra. Like, those picks in the top 50 are so valuable. After that, in my opinion, like, you might get a good pitcher, or it's up to discovery to get good drafts after the kind of those top 50, 75. Let them develop. Oh yeah, I'm not saying that as in I'm gonna rush somebody's development to get the prospect promotion, because if they're not good when they make it to the majors, then they're not going to get the awards that will give us the promotion. But, you know, I definitely had that in mind with Murillo. His ratings were in a spot that I knew he was going to be good as a rookie. So I wanted to make sure he was eligible for that. because, you know, oh, you were agreeing. Yeah, okay. My priority in calling people up is A, first is whether they're actually ready. Then underneath that is the prospect promotion. Then underneath that is manipulating service time. I don't care that much about manipulating service time. Because we're draft only, there's not going to be expensive contracts that we need to, you know, hold everyone off for an extra year. Marilla's a beast. Marilla and Solace have both been quite impressive.
He's out.
I think we just watched Shunk for fun there too. But too busy talking, wasn't paying attention. Another home run for Delicati. I think that's his second home run today. Gotta be honest, I don't know who Delicati is, but he's swinging a bat. All right, here's Kyle Brown up again. 1 for 3 so far. Bottom of the 8th, Yard Goats are up 1.
1-0.
Murillo was like, I was so surprised that he was that good. In all my time in MLB The Show 23, I didn't see a player as well-rounded with him that also provided the power that he got. I think we're very lucky that he was our first draft pick in this franchise. And that he was MLB ranked 20. So he actually fell to 3. I was also pretty clutch. Kyle Brown hits it well. And it's gloved. What a play in right field. Oh, that sounded good off the bat. I thought that one was going off the wall. Oh, we just stole a hit from our boy Kyle Brown. Wonder how the number 1 and number 2 from that draft. Man, I can't remember who was even selected at number 1 and number 2. The thing with I don't do a lot of actual playing franchise like this, but I do a lot of just like simulating draft passes off of the franchise just as practice. I want to see like, oh, I missed this player, he was really good, why didn't I scout him? And I can go back and off something I do and just I want to learn how to identify who the good players are every single draft. I don't want to miss the good players in a franchise that really counts like this. But the downside of doing that is, like, if I don't draft them, I forget who they are so quickly. I have no idea who's drafted at number 1 and number 2. I know who was drafted at number 1 last year because he was a generational third baseman, Richie Covey. We're going to take a timeout. Let's see how Richie Covey's actually doing so far. Yeah, teams will take trash at the top. There's no doubt about that. Covey, he's hitting .302 with 5 homers. And 63 at-bats. Would have been a sick player to add. He went at 1 overall, though. I also want to see how division rival Jason Lindsay's doing. He's hitting .392. I think he would have been a cool pick. Obviously, I'm still very happy with Jose Beretto. But he would have been the perfect outfield leadoff guy for us. He just needed to come in on the very high end of his ratings, and turns out he did. Both those guys that I wanted to... Both the position players I wanted in the first round are doing awesome for their respective teams. But again... I'm not going to complain about the fact that we have Jose Beretto. Let's watch another Kyle Brown game. This is going to be a problem. I'm actually kind of glad he got drafted in the division because it was between Beretto and Lindsay. No power, boring. I know, but he's hitting 392. Not that he's going to keep that up. You don't... Oh, whoops. I don't want to be doing this because I want it to be like this. There we go. I don't think you need power at all 9 spots. You know what I mean? I want it at like 7 or 8 of the spots. But I want the guy to be in second, to be on base for all those. For all those home runs. Make those solo shots into 2-run shots, into 3-run shots. You know what I'm saying? Need a couple of on base guys. I would have liked Lindsay, but we're going to like Beretto even more, who's going to be the pitcher. We're going to be focusing on Kyle Brown instead of Beretto, but you can kind of look at what he's doing here. Strikeout, ground out, strikeout. There we go. You'll love to see it. Good start. 2 walks will put Kyle Brown up to the plate. Could hit 330 plus. Yeah, he would have been cool. I think there will be other opportunities to draft somebody like Jason Lindsay, though. There we go. That one squeaks through first base. Will that bring home a run is the question. Yes, it will. Runners on the corners. An RBI single. Kyle Brown. And who knows? Maybe it is Kyle Brown. Even though you'd like that 80 clutch to be used a little bit more, maybe. Right now, he's the best candidate for future leadoff hitter, for sure. Yeah, I agree, Paul. But, like, there was, what's his name? The guy that I talked about at the very start of the franchise, a triple for Guerrero makes it 4-0. We got a strikeout, the 3rd strikeout already for Beretto. Does allow a hit there. We're going a little bit slower through this one just because I actually want to see how Beretto's doing on the other side. Whereas last game I didn't care how the pitcher was doing.
That's a ball.
But plenty of high contact low players. But the thing with Jason Lindsay is it wasn't just the contact and the play skills. It was also the speed and the fielding at a very important fielding spot. He literally offers everything, I think, except for power. So yeah, you want power, but when the guy does everything but, you could take 1 or 2 of those guys in your lineup, you know what I'm saying? If he didn't get drafted by a division rival, I think he would have been the second guy I traded for. Kyle Brown lifted. Caught on the warning track. Can't quite leave the yard for his 2nd homer of the season. We're continuing to try and develop Kyle Brown's power. We could just make him a contact specialist, but Juan Pierre. Gotta be honest, I have no idea who that is. A leadoff single allowed. Another strikeout. A brownie bomb. There we go. That's what we're calling him. I like it. Brownie bomb. What's the highest overall a drafted player can have? Well, in this game, they changed it. You can get guys that start in the 90s. They're very, very rare. But you can get them. Single and a walk so far. Still a 0-run inning for Beretto, though. Another clutch opportunity for Kyle Brown. This team's looking good on both sides of the ball here. 6 runs scored, no runs allowed by our guy Beretto. Those guys are really rare. In like 90% of draft classes, if you exclude generational, if there's no generational and there's no weird guys that are like 21 overall that have really high overall, 75 is usually kind of the max you typically see. Kyle Brown to the warning track again. Our boy just missing these home runs. I feel like these hard hits still, they actually raise your ratings though, if I'm not mistaken. I know they're doing like Road to the Show. Like if you hit a ball really well, even if it doesn't result in a hit, your like Road to the Show ratings will go up. I played Road to the Show and MLB The Show 22 was the last time I played it. All right, strikeout. 18 strikeout of the season for Beretto. Uh-oh, we got bases loaded for Beretto. Fielder's choice. Brown needs some weight room work. That's what we are training him on. His speed is power's up into the 40s. So obviously, what am I doing? We're not trying to watch this guy bat. We're not. It's not like horrible anymore. He can hit homers. He has one so far this year. Obviously, not something you're going to count on him doing yet. But there we go. We got a quality start for Jose Beretto this time. Yeah, in order to show, I know that how that's worked. I just assume it's the same in franchise mode. Like if you hit a ball really well, but it's not for a hit, it still is actually increasing your ratings. But I don't know if in sim they actually go so far as to actually track that, or if it's just all based on what your averages are. This one's gonna be a pop-up. 5 more feet. Yeah, you'd have a 2 home run game right now. Instead, he's actually getting out quite a lot. Beretto will come out for the 7th. Oh, no, he will not. Which means we could start flying through the pitching, because I don't care about these other guys. But Beretto, so far, has only allowed 2 runs. Oh, I just accidentally skipped Kyle Brown. Whoops. I was supposed to be watching my 2nd round pitcher debut. Instead, I'm watching Kyle Brown. Whoa. And I even skipped Kyle Brown. Better hit a nuke. He's been so close twice. And now I don't think Kyle Brown's going to... He probably just accidentally skipped. Yeah, we accidentally skipped Kyle Brown's last at-bat, but it was another out, so... 2 near homers for Kyle Brown. He did drive in a run in this game. Now we know those players just took steroids. For real. A little bit of roids and he'd have gotten a lot more than 1 RBI today. 6 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks again for Beretto. Walks are actually giving him a little bit of a problem here. These last couple of starts. All right. So we've watched 2 Kyle Brown games. We watched 1 more. Let's watch 1 more Kyle Brown game, and then we'll transition into some Brian Doe games towards the end of the month. Nope. Well, first off, yeah, let's wear the Copa unis. They're great. Let's make sure it's CPU versus CPU. Solid quality start. Yeah, he hasn't pitched any no-hitters or complete games or anything, but he really should have quality starts in all 3 of his starts. He has them in 2 of them, though. The ump screwed him out of his 3rd quality start. Not allowing runs. He's striking out a lot more than I thought he would. Just allowing a few more walks than I thought he would as well. Which, as long as they're not turning into runs, it's fine. Why isn't it letting me skip this? Just had to make sure my controller was working. Herb Reyes will be the starter. We'll kind of go through this one a little bit slower as well, because Herb Reyes is the best lefty in their organization. His hits per 9 are in a really bad spot. That's why I haven't watched him yet, because I feel like it would be painful to watch him allow all these hits. But we'll watch him at some point for sure. Probably after the draft, we'll take a look at a Herb Reyes start. Give him a little bit of time to up those hits per 9. 2 gone here for Kyle Brown. Looking to keep the inning alive. This one will drop in for a hit. He's been doing a nice job hitting opposite field. I believe whole field is his batting tendency. No, I didn't want to do that. Rip, dude. Oh, a complete game shutout. I just totally pressed the wrong button there. All right, so we'll watch another game, but a complete game shutout for Herb Reyes. Let's look at the box score for this game. 7 strikeouts, no walks, no earned runs, 9 hits allowed. Batting, we got home runs from Wimmer, Guerrero, and Shunk. RBIs. Looks like it wasn't. No, Kyle Brown did have 2 hits. He just didn't drive in any runs. That was my bad. Here we go. Here's our last Kyle Brown game. We're going to pretend that that just didn't happen. Oh, they did Copa Master this time. I want to see Copa jersey. All right, let's have a look at a quick text. Antonio Hernandez. We got a lot of young pitchers here. Not a great start for Antonio Hernandez. Here we go. That last game didn't happen, although it actually did because it was a Herb Reyes Klinge shutout, but let's get a third Kyle Brown game in here.
All right, ball 1. Hey! I got a ball, 1 strike.
Sorry, I got some urgent messages here.
You got 2 balls, 1 strike.
I am in the process of buying a house, just as a little bit of personal life news for you guys. I'm actually building one. And it looks like there's some mix-ups on some stuff right now, but I can handle those after the stream. This one's going to be a double play for Kyle Brown. Not a great start. So just make sure we actually press the buttons we want this time. Not a good start here for Antonio Hernandez. Jeez.
3. You're out.
Wonder how much longer he's even going to last here. A couple strikeouts there in that inning. Still no hits on the board. Alexander here had himself a day pitching. There we go. Kyle Brown gets a hold of this one into the outfield. Should be a double. And it is. Stand-up double for him. 2 gone, a man in scoring position. 3rd double of the season for Kyle. That single would end the day. And then just a bunch of walks, dude. Come on. That pitcher who came in is terrible. How do you allow 3 walks in a row? Jaden Hill, dude. We're getting absolutely smoked. I mean, we smoked these guys last time, and now they're smoking us. Pretty much a reversal. There we go. Kyle Brown getting some solid contact on these. Not a lot of power, but we know that's his game right now. Much more of a contact hitter. Yeah, Anton Hernandez has been terrible. We had a guy who's Hernandez struggled, and then Jaden Hill just came in and struggled even more. Guerrero with a homer. He definitely needs the guys behind him to actually bring him home. Let's see if Ponticelli can pitch. Not really, although an error certainly didn't help. Should have got out of that inning a little bit sooner. All right. Bottom of the 8th, probably his last chance, but he's 2 for 3. Second consecutive multi-hit game for Kyle.
Oh, that's out.
Vergara in for the 8th.
That's a ball.
Can you guys hear the wind?
One strike.
Hopefully not. Wind's going crazy in my house right now. Kyle Brown grounds into another double play. Woof. Not a great end. But he certainly showed us that he's going to be hitting for contact a lot more this year, which is what we really wanted. You can't hear it? That's good. I hope not, because it's actually pretty loud. But my mic should be good enough to filter that out, and it is. So we get absolutely smoked. The game after we smoked Birmingham. Birmingham. What is that? Binghamton. That's what that is. I was thinking of Birmingham because that was the White Sox franchise last year. Short Jake Berger. So after our prospect games, we now have Kyle Brown sitting at 360. Still just the 1 home run. So close to adding a couple more. Just couldn't quite do it. He officially has... Oh, I thought it was in the low 40s. It's in the mid 30s. I don't know why I thought he had power in the low 40s. Must be thinking of someone else. Oh, I think I was thinking of Brian Doe's contact. Yeah, he's got like 39 or 47. That's what I was probably thinking of. Brian Doe will be up next, but I want to go back to the MLB momentarily, see if we can't pick up a critical situation before we do that. So Alfonso Cedeno. Looking pretty much exactly what I thought he would. Has more power than Lindsay. Yes, he does. He's going to be speed. He's going to have a good arm. He's going to be a decent fielder. And his offense is going to be okay. Offense is going to be okay. He's going to need to come in on the higher end of his ranges, I think, to be a really good player, but he could. Not exactly what you want at number 1, though, I would say. If I could get this guy at 36, I'd be down. But he is offering one of the 4 things that we wanted, right? Remember, we want an outfielder with a big arm. Cedeno has that. We want a mashing first baseman. We want a leadoff guy. We want high floor pitching. Yeah, he's not as good against righties for sure. He could be in the 40s in both. Hopefully, if he's on the high end, he'll have at least power in the 50s. But there's a good chance his contact versus righties is only in the 40s, and his discipline will be in the 40s. A little bit more of a defender, but the speed, the arm, he's okay. Again, a guy I would love to take at 36. He's not a guy that you want to take at 1. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for at 36. If we can get a guy that looks like this at 36, that's what I'm looking for. At 1, I do want more upside though still. So let's continue looking. Let's look at first baseman. That's one of the things we want, right? Ken Gelman here. He is, again, he's another guy where his overall, if you look at his present stuff, his max is 85. He's not going to be 85. So you have to take 10 off of everything that he has. And that's kind of where his max could be. So if you take 10 off of everything, are you still comfortable with the player? You're going to still have a guy who's great contact, fielding, and arm accuracy. I don't see a first baseman here, but could he be an outfielder with a big arm? I think he's somebody we could be interested in scouting. Omar Figueroa. Not going to be a guy, obviously, in play at 1, but could he be in play in the 30s? Now, this is the kind of guy I do not usually go for at all. His overall and his potential are pretty much the same. I almost never, ever, ever would recommend going for this player. But again, as I said at the top of the stream, we have, what are the numbers? 15 guys with at least high B potential. 7 of those are position players. A lot of those guys just aren't MLB ready. This might be the year to spend 1 pick or 2 picks on guys that are just going to come in and be good right away. Be more short-term solutions. These are guys, this draft class is coming in year 4. We still want to be like the worst team in the league in year 4 of our rebuild. It's really year 3. So if you think about that, right? Because the first year is kind of a throwaway year. You're a little bit more comfortable with it. If we can't find any good first baseman, I'm going to scout this guy. But I want to see if we can actually find somebody a little bit better first. This guy, his overall range is a little bit too low for what I'm looking for this year, and that's it. Yeah, if it was way different, I would be a lot more concerned, but it's only going to be off by 1. So he's going to regress a tiny bit. But, like, for example, we find a guy. No, it's not any here. Second baseman, I actually like the look of Will Abe here. His overall goes up to 81. His potential goes up to 98. He looks more like a leadoff guy potential. It peaked in high school. Gelman looks like Noah Sean. You told me how to pronounce it last stream, but I forgot. Seanwell? Will Abe. I think I'm going to scout Will Abe. I'm just comfortable. Whoops. I'm comfortable with these ranges that I'm seeing here. Overall, up to 81. Obviously, it's not going to go that high, so you're going to have to take a lot of stuff up. A little bit of stuff off of his maxes, but even still, good contact, good fielder, good speed. This could be kind of that leadoff archetype we're looking at. So I'm gonna scout Will Abe here. We're gonna discover one more week here, in Central, and then we'll choose our second area, which isn't gonna be easy. I'll just say that. We'll talk about it in a week. I'd love to get one of these games against the Giants, a critical situation, because I want to see Jason Lindsay hit. And then we'll look at Brian Doe. Reminds you of Kyle Brown. He could be Kyle Brown. He could be a younger Kyle Brown. Just with more speed, which would make him a better leadoff candidate. I hate that they don't show clutch in these player cards, just as a side note. Because like Michael McGaffick, let's go back. So year 1, I drafted Michael McGaffick. I was super excited about it. Because if you take off his clutch, he looks super good everywhere except for strikeouts per 9, right? I'll tell you why, Paul, in just a second. But then all of a sudden, we scout him, we draft him. We had no idea that his pitcher clutch was terrible. And that's totally changed the way that we look at him. Because every time we go in, he ends up with just a terrible inning that ruins his outing because his pitcher clutch is so terrible. So the second baseman, why I'm not scouting this guy right here. His potential is 1 lower than his overall. Now, there is a new archetype added into this game where people could start already in the 90s overall. This guy could technically be it. that's like a 1% chance of happening. Here's the thing. The first time that archetype shows up in my franchise, I'm just not going to draft him. And then I'll know what to look for in the future. But, you know, I know I just said, hey, it might be worth it for Omar Figueroa. The reason it's worth it for Omar Figueroa is I could draft him at 38. You know, because he's MLB ranked 54. But with this guy, you're getting kind of the same deal. Like these two guys, I mean, look pretty similar. Obviously, his overall starts at 80. So he actually might be the guy that comes in as already 91 overall. Maybe we do scout him. I just typically, when I see a spread like this, I don't scout it. Is he that rare guy that actually comes in, he's already like 85 to 91 overall or something like that? He is 21 years old. The archetype does have to be at least 21 years old or older, from what I've seen. We could scout him. I do want to scout Will Abe, though. You think he's going to be the guy that comes in and is already insane? We'll scout. How about we scout him? Actually, he's 21 years old, so it only takes 1 week to scout him. We'll scout Will Abe next week. Let's scout him. Let's just see. Why not? It takes 1 week of scouting. And if he is the guy that comes in, he's already 90 overall, then that would be just pretty flippin' sweet. I'll tell you that. We'll just find out. I don't think he is. But why not? Why not look? He's also way too big to be a second baseman. If he has that kind of power, though, he can easily play third. Because he's going to be too good of a fielder to play if he actually is that archetype. If he's not that archetype, he's going to be too terrible to play anything for our franchise. Let's be honest. It would be awesome to draft a guy that's already that good. I mean, talk about I wanted more MLB readiness in this year's draft. What's more MLB ready than that? You know what I mean? All right, let's see if we can get a critical situation. We get one against the Yankees. Kind of want one against the Giants. We can do both, though. There's no... Could play right field as well. That's true. If he has that big of an arm, he could fill the outfielder with the good arm that I'm looking for, too. Pitcher getting tired. Lovely. All right. Let's see if we can beat the Yankees. They got one down, man on first and second. Or Joe Rock, who is tired. That would be sick if that second baseman is... Again, I've never seen that. I've been trying to generate draft classes because specifically to find that archetype, because I want to know what to look for when you get a player like that. But I haven't gotten it, so it's very, very rare. Could be that we found one, though. Could very much be that we found one. What team did Soto shuffle to? Nice. He went to the White Sox in this franchise for some reason. I wish he went back to our division. I don't know why. I just love things being difficult. Ahmed Rosario into left field. Got to put some pressure on us. 2 guys in scoring position now. 1 out. I wish he went like back to the Padres. Can you imagine the outfield of Nolan Jones, Fernando Tatis, and Juan Soto? Next up is Teoscar Hernandez. Or just the Giants or the Dodgers. I just wish you... Every time there's a big free agent, I just want to make the division even harder. Because I enjoy pain, apparently. As if seeing Nolan Jones. We got to watch the Padres again this year for sure. You used to pay for the highest position player when you don't have to pay for the other... Yeah. It's true. I mean, they had the money. That's the thing. Like, they had the money. Would they actually spend it? I don't know. I wish they had, like, spending personalities, you know, in the game for the CPU. I think you should do it, Von Ryan. I think Harry Ford has a lot of similarities to Salas, and it's cracked to left again. He's just a little bit older, but I'll tell you what, having a catcher with speed is pretty fun.
Up next for the Yankees, the center fielder, Aaron.
And it's just a position like, if you don't get generational, it's so hard to find a catcher that's actually a good player two-way. You can find a good defensive catcher. You can find a good offensive catcher that should probably be a first baseman or a DH. It's hard to find both without getting a generational catcher. And so I feel like, you know, Kevin Sandoval in MLB The Show 23 ended up being really good for us. That's because we drafted him in year 1 and gave him like 5 or 6 years in the minors before we got him up, and he was awesome. He was an awesome catcher. We've been really good. We've been really lucky that in both of our draft only franchises, we've got really good catchers. And then you could DH Contreras, yeah. He's got a good arm, but his actual fielding ratings behind the plate aren't incredible. Harry Ford's cool. Before I started my channel in MLB The Show 22, I played a little bit of franchise, and I made a franchise where I had to trade for everyone, but I could only add players if they were under 20 years old. Just kind of a difference to the draft only challenge. It was just I could trade for anybody, I could sign anybody, but they had to be 18 or 19. It's kind of a fun little franchise I did, and Harry Ford was my catcher because he was, I think, like 19. Swing and a miss for Stanton. And strike 3 looking. But the Rockies need to add 3 runs to keep this game alive. Or to, you know, walk it off, we'd have to score a 4th. What part of the order are we on? We just missed seeing Salas and Murillo. Dang. I was hoping we could see some of our favorite guys here when we opt into these critical situations. But Murillo is the one that's on second base. All the hitting we've seen at the MLB has been, you know, towards the bottom of our order, though. This one, obviously, in the middle of our order. Yeah, Jeffrey, that would be cool. Because that's what happens in real life, right?
Ball, that pitch is out.
They should add that for sure. I had a debate in the comment section of my scouting video of how good MLB The Show 20, MLB The Show franchise is, but that could be really fun. Anything that's like a big part of the real game in terms of like team building, right, should be in the video game in franchise mode, because you want to, in franchise mode, you want to feel like a GM, right? And so you want to do everything, you want to make all the decisions that the GMs make, and that is one of the big decisions, is that international free agent period. Gets you a lot of really awesome players in the league today are from that period, and now you just have to draft them. There are a lot of really good international players in the draft, but you know, in real life, those guys would be in a totally different period of time. Jordan Beck makes it 2 outs for the Rockies. Not looking good for us. I'll just say that. Not looking great for the boys. Bottom 10, 2 gone, down by 3. Can Benny Montgomery keep this going, though? Haven't seen a ton of him in this franchise either. He played just well enough in spring training to get himself a platoon role on the Major League squad. High C potential with Benny. Salas and Lesko, you could do that too.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Me being selfish, I'd rather see you get Ford just to have different players, but if you want to get Salas instead of Ford, I can't blame you at all, especially because, as I learned in this franchise, he'll actually be 18 for the first 2 years of your franchise. franchise it and the Yamamotos as well. Yeah. Because it's such a big part of real baseball. You want it to be represented in the game as well. I was thinking about Lesko as well from the Padres back in our first trade, but I just wanted a position player. Yeah, Salas is cool. It's amazing to me how little interest the Padres have in keeping Salas. Pretty much every one of the franchises I've done to kind of simulate draft classes offline, he almost always gets traded within the first 2 years. They just have no interest in keeping Ethan Salas. I guess it's because they have Campusano, who's a good catcher. He's fine. But just the upside of Salas is so much bigger. All right, let's do this Giants stuff. Aaron Shunk will be out for a few days. We'll just let that auto do. Michael McGaffick will also be out for a few days. Jason Lindsay. Hey, this is what we wanted. I wanted to see a Jason Lindsay at bat. This is what we wanted. Taking a look at our ranks, 30th in ERA. It has dropped, though. It's down to 6. It was 6 point something something. I like these San Francisco unis, by the way. I gotta say. The bridge on the sleeve, that's pretty dope. Yeah, same with Holiday. Like, why are you trading the guy with the bigger upside? Oh, what am I doing? Oh, what am I doing? I was going to... we have not simulated through the week yet. I just accidentally simulated the Jason Lindsay at bat because I was in the mindset of our player lock games. I have not seen the Philly City Connect ones yet. All right. The Liberty Bell on the cap. That is nice, though. I'm still trying to decide my favorite MLB team. The Phillies are on the list just because I'm an Eagles fan, so just being like a all Philly sport, except I'm a Utah Jazz fan for basketball, so it wouldn't be all Phillies, Philadelphia sports, but Phillies are on the list. Don't know if I'm gonna do that though. Padres are on the list just because I love Fernando Tatis. Throw in will keep the runner at second. I can't believe the whole reason I wanted to do this critical situation was Jason Lindsay, and I simulated his at bat on accident. It wasn't out though. Yeah, so we haven't gotten to Sunday. We'll get there pretty soon. You don't like these unis? I like the white and the orange, honestly. I like orange though. I think orange for uniform colors is just so nice. Good pitch. He dropped from A to B. It'll still be high B, though. And you could always get it back. That is unfortunate, though. Makes it a little less fun. The Colorado Rockies are victorious. Sorry, I wasn't super excited about that as soon as I simulated the at-bat. I actually wanted to see. Jorge Soler went 4 for 5 against us. Ryan Bliss went 3 for 4 on our side. All right, let's see if we can do it again. Nope. That was my one chance and I blew it. So we're going to go watch some Brian Doe. We're going to do it next week, though, because I want to get a week of scouting done. I don't actually care about the critical situations for the minor league team. Oh, I still have to simulate through this day. Okay. Scouting. All right. So he's not going to be in the 90s, but he is going to be one of those guys in the high 70s or low 80s. So there's two types of new there's two types of new prospects added for the guys that are 21 years old. There are the guys that start at like high 80s, low 90s, or there are guys that are like high 70s, low 80s. Dan Prescott looks like that second archetype to me. I think he's going to come in on the lower end of his ranges, if I'm being honest. He could be the guy, he could like be like 87 overall with 86 potential though. I really don't know. I am still very much so unfamiliar with this whole new way they've done. But with the number 1 overall pick, I don't want a guy that's going to regress. Especially if he's not going to already be 90, which he's not. Could we regret it if he ends up being like 87 overall, though? 87 overall to start would still be nasty. So it's time to find out what the second area it is going to be that we're going to scout for pitching. And normally it is always international. It's always international, usually the first one that I do. I showed you why it was central this year. But I want to show you just how close this is. You can also actually take a look at who we've scouted. So Terrence Hedger is the new number 1 overall player. A pitcher, I would love to get a position player in this draft, if I'm being honest. What looks really good is walks and home runs per 9 are awesome. Hits per 9. He's just not going to be able to strike out anybody, and he doesn't throw hard, but that's not the worst thing. His last name is Prescott, so nice. Always appreciate a good joke at the expense of the Cowboys on this channel. But so here's what we're talking about. So I want to show you what we were going to do for the second one, because it's very close between East and International. Oh, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Neil Dorsey has secondary positions, y'all. I'll show you the second area in just a minute. We got a 2-way player that's number 1 ranked by MLB. As a pitcher. Holy crap, guys. Okay. I gotta calm down here. Let's think. This is awesome. Okay. I'm glad, dude. Oh, I'm so glad that we found this on stream too, so you guys can all experience it with me. Switch hitter. Okay, as a pitcher, he's got good walks per 9 and hits per 9, which we like. Home runs per 9 is low, which sucks. He doesn't look very generational to me, though, is the thing. Like, that overall max is 69. I know he's not fully scouted, and generational players, they mess with you, but it's usually not this low. His speed. Okay. 4-pitch mix, 2-seamer, curveball, slider, changeup. He's a beast of a hitter, though. Okay. Sorry, I'm really excited. I have simulated so many drafts, and I've never seen... I was just saying that 2-way pitchers usually have their hitting in the 30s. Not this guy. And his vision is 5 higher than his discipline. So now all of a sudden he's got me thinking he is generational, but just the overalls don't match. His hitting is generational for sure. So if he's generational, he would be a 70 overall with 99 potential. He can play first base. If he's generational, though, which he might be, I'm honestly getting mixed feelings as to whether or not he's generational. But you can kind of see he has the 10.6 million demand. So the guys with really high demand usually are generational. Maybe because I've never seen a two-way generational before. Maybe the two-ways just have a lower overall threshold than you're usually. Oh yeah, we're drafting him. I'm not looking at a single other player in the first round anymore. Neil Dorsey, if we end up getting screwed, fine, whatever. I'm taking the two-way player that hits absolute nukes, no matter what. Okay. Generational hitter, but a mediocre. Yeah, he's not going to be Shohei. Just from what I'm seeing from this pitching, he's not going to be the ace and the guy hitting in a primary spot. But he could be like your fourth pitcher and your cleanup hitter or something like that. He's definitely a better hitting prospect than he is a pitching prospect. But if he's generationally his 99 potential, you're still going to have him be a pitcher because his ceiling is so high. By the time he's hit his ceiling, he's going to be good. Yeah, every single two-way player I've had has been the opposite. A really good-looking pitcher, or even just a solid-looking pitcher, but a terrible hitter. Which is why I'm thinking this guy's got to be generational, because he is so much better of a hitter than any other two-way player I've ever seen. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Paul. You just have him probably towards the bottom half of your pitching rotation, but he's going to be a big, big part of the offense. Guys! Let's go! Oh, we found it. I'm so stoked, dude. I'm so stoked. So we're done scouting for number 1 overall, which kind of frees up a lot of weeks for us to focus on the future. Yeah, you just asked about, here's how you scout two ways, Ian. You get freaking lucky, okay? Oh my gosh. Like I said, I've looked. I haven't even found anyone else who's found a two-way generational player. You know what the title of the next video is going to be. I'll just say that. Ooh, boy. I wish he threw harder. If this guy threw gas, he'd be like perfect. All right. Let's go, dude. That is so sick. Okay. So let's transition now. We found the generational two-way player. We know who we're taking to number 1. Yeah, you just watched me stream. Okay. So, Dan Prescott, we're not drafting him. Sayonara. I hope he's good. I hope somebody in our division gets him and he's good. Oh yeah, this is what I was doing. So I want to show you, like, it is very, very close as to what the second best area is. Like I said, like 99% of franchise seasons that I've done, international is the best or the second best easily. This time it's not so close. Let's do guys that we haven't scouted. We have East, although he's not going to be very good. We have guys Central. East again. International. East. International. International. East. East. International. West. We have one guy West finally. The point is it's pretty split between international and East. There's no true easy second best area. You can't see it right now. I'm going to hide my face cam real quick. Like 27 in the Central was the best one. I'm just going to redo these real quick. We don't need to scout him to get up his interest. Yeah, I'm gonna continue to do the last 2 weeks of Pitcher Central just because I want to get all the other pitchers up, you know, and he'll just get a little bit extra scouting because of it and a little bit like extra interest. There's one in the game already, I think. Reggie something. What are you talking about there, Paul? We already have a two-way player in this franchise or something? Or there's a real two-way player that's good? Okay. So now that we're done scouting So we're really only looking for guys that, like, Will Abe is, we'd have to get a little bit lucky for him to fall for us at 36, but I think we scout him now. We're going to continue to scout starting pitchers central. Two-way player in the game. Gotcha. Yeah, I know there are a couple. You're talking about a guy who is a real baseball player, though, right? So what do you guys think? Should we go East or International? They're both pretty good. This might be the one very rare time where I go like 5 Central, 5 East, and then 4 International, or 5 International and 4 East. And just don't do any individual scouting of pitchers. Yeah, I know the Giants have. Didn't the Giants just draft somebody who's a two-way player in real life? Okay. This might be the rare time when we use all 14 weeks to scout regions for pitchers. 5 International. We could do 5 International. Well, 5 Central for sure. And then 5 of International and 4 of East, or vice versa. I think we'll do International for now. Guys, we found a two-way player in the draft. And a guy who I'm pretty sure is a two-way generational player. He looks different than any other generational player I've ever seen, just because his overalls wouldn't suggest he is. But again, I've never seen a generational two-way player before, so maybe 70 overall is what he's going to be. That's nuts. That's nuts, guys. All right, that's what we're doing for this week. Will A, we'd have to get a little bit lucky for him to be there at 36, but we could. He's ranked 35. We probably shouldn't scout him. Honestly, he's not going to make it. Here's the thing. Here's why I'm actually maybe not going to scout Will Abe. He's MLB ranked 35, so anybody who doesn't scout him is going to have him ranked somewhere around 35. If he's terrible, then I don't want to scout him. If he's good, then he's going to be ranked obviously above 35, and anyone else who has also scouted him will have him above 35 and he'll likely go. The chances of him actually being there at 36 are pretty low. We'll scout him 1 week. Why not? All right. We're going to watch some Brian Doe games. I hate to say that, like, it seems like I'm less excited to watch Brian Doe games because we just found a generational two-way player, but we're still going to watch it. All right. Still excited to watch Brian Doe. He is currently the best player in our outfield for the future. Hitting 264, so he's got his average up a lot. At the start of this episode, he was hitting 180. So he started to turn things around in this season a lot. He's hitting well above what you would expect with his contact. He's far exceeding his actual ratings, which you always love to see. 11 and 16 are our isotopes. That guy is phasing through the wall. He's a magician. So is that guy. Jeez. All right. Let's watch some Brian Doe. I'm ready. I'm going to simulate all the way to the draft next episode. No, I won't. But I'll be tempted. Let's see Zach Veen. He flies out. So we got Brian Doe. 4 home runs already for Brian as well. Though we're about a month in, so 4 home runs isn't insane. A little over a month in at this point. It's good, though. I'm not going to complain about 4 home runs. Man. When I started this stream to show you guys my scouting process, I never thought that we would find a two-way generational player together. Brian drawing a walk here to start his prospects highlight session here. Nice discipline. Needs work on those plate skills as well. I'm really torn on Brian because he has a lot of ratings that say he's ready to be in the MLB right now, but he still has a lot of ratings in the 30s and the 40s. So, like, when is the right time to call him up? It is going to be a tough. It's going to be a tough thing to see. Dumb luck. It's really. I don't know if there's any like identifying factors before. It's just you gotta scout him to 25% and you gotta look for secondary positions. But my finger slipped around the draft. Yeah, it's gonna be very, very hard for me to not go through this year because obviously I want to see a two-way player as soon as possible. But we've got a lot of other prospects in the organization and a lot of other storylines to follow in the team. And we gotta make sure we don't go too fast. I want to appreciate season 3 as well. Make sure that both me and everyone else who's, you know, invested in the team knows what's going on. Because, you know, we still got Murillo and Salas's rookie year that I want to be following pretty closely for the rest of it. Still got to see can Dolander make it back up to the bigs. There's still a lot of storylines I'm very interested to see how they play out this year. But it is tempting just to get that two-way player up in here.
Leading off for the Isotopes, the center fielder, Brian Doe.
All right, Brian Doe 0 for 1 with a walk. Yeah, the perfect strategy for finding a generational two-way player is to simulate 200 drafts, and maybe you'll get one.
Now batting, the shortstop.
Maybe. I don't know how many drafts I've actually simulated in this game, but it's probably close to 100, and that's the first two-way generational player I've seen. I've only seen like 2 or 3 two-way players total. The other 2 were terrible hitters. It was never worth even making them your DH.
Now batting, the first baseman, Beretto.
That's so incredible. I'm sitting here watching guys after Brian Doe's done because I'm just thinking about our two-way guy. All right, let's go. Can't tell, I am a little distracted already thinking about the next video I'm gonna put up. Brian Ward? What's Ward's first name? I have no idea, honestly. All right, we're up 3-0. Doe 0 for 2 with a walk today. Might be his last AB. Could get one more. He could fall to number 2. We have the number 1 pick. You're talking about our second rounder? There's no way I'm chancing that. He's the number 1 MLB rank. Somebody will draft him. But we have the number 1 overall pick, so we get him. There's no chance of him being sniped from us like Richie Covey was last year. Because here's the reason that I think there's a 0% chance. Hey, Mario Lozano. I actually have wanted to see this guy pitch, so we're gonna watch this inning. I've been wanting to see this guy pitch. It's just with a setup guy, you never know when he's actually gonna pitch unless you like simulate every game. So yeah, so here's the reason he won't make it to round 2. He's the number 1 ranked MLB prospect, so everyone who hasn't scouted him is going to have him at the top of their board. Everyone who has scouted him, he'll have dropped, but he'll only have dropped like to the 20s, so somebody's still going to take him in the 20s. Like if you scouted him a little bit, he'll drop to the 20s, then the more you scout him, the more he comes up back up your board. That's what happens with like all the generational guys. So that's why you'll see a generational player fall to like 13 or 14 sometimes is kind of the lowest I've seen them fall. Oh, you mean I'm not going to draft him there? Yeah, there's no way I'm not drafting him. Are you kidding me? I have a chance at a 2-way generational player. We're drafting him. There was a time in this series where I thought one of the rules we could add was no generational players. Thought that could have been a fun rule. Mario Lozano gets shelled. That could have been a fun challenge. But nope. I'm drafting the 2-way generational player. Not letting that guy slide. If I hadn't have checked the MLB rank, though, there's a chance I wouldn't have found him. Yeah, you had a generational. Yeah, because that's just the way. I think the game maybe does that. It does it, I think, for 2 reasons. One, the first reason is to try to throw you off the scent of a generational, but it also is to throw off the CPU for the scent. So if you end up with like a top 10 pick, there's a chance that the generational player actually falls to you. Because anytime anyone scouts them, he's going to fall down their board unless they scout them all the way full. Yeah, I wish you could trade draft slots too. But it kind of adds to the challenge. Because one of the things that I think has made Madden so easy for me to rebuild is it is just so easy to get all your favorite players in the draft. Whereas in MLB, sometimes you get on the clock with like the 8th pick and you had 5 guys you really liked and they're all gone and you couldn't do anything about it. And you just get absolutely sniped. Which is fun. And if you really, really like the guy, you could probably trade for him if you missed him. Neil Dorsey. Soon to be Colorado Rocky. Mario Lozano, apart from getting shelled, hasn't looked too bad here. But it was kind of that upper 90s fastball. He's a guy that could get a call up to the MLB soon, although I mean, he is allowing, that's his 3rd hit here. He's been really good in simulation. He's just been absolute trash here. I'm not going to see him for some of his pitches, but he's just allowing hits here. That's a beautiful pitch. Called for a ball, though. '97. I think he could be a good setup man of the future for us. He's playing setup here for Ramirez. Our setup and our closer in AAA right now is what I'm hoping could be our setup and our closer for the long term. Yeah. Here's the thing, though. You can't do, because his main position is going to be pitcher, right? You can't put like armbands on pitchers. You can't even put compression sleeves on pitchers. You can't put gloves. You can't put eye paint. You can only put the baggy sleeves. You can make sure he has a cool glove. We can give him that cool purple glove. We can give him some fancy hair. That's pretty much it. We can give him high socks if we want to give him high socks. It's actually really hard to swag out a pitcher in this game, unfortunately. And since that's going to be his main position, those are going to be like his the options for his items, unfortunately. There might be a chance we could change him to a position player, set up all of his equipment, and then change him back to a pitcher. I could try that. I think his pitching will be good because I'll go back to him after this game. The reason I was saying his pitching wasn't good is because at the time I didn't think he was generational. Let's see if we can get a close here, actually, from Jeff Ramirez. Why not? But now that we know that all of his stuff is going to be at the very top end of his ratings, we can go back and take another look. It might look pretty good. It won't be great. I think the reason that he's only going to be a 70 overall is because as a pitcher, he's only like a 70 overall. If you look at how good of a hitter he is, you're going to assume that guy's like 80 overall. But because his position is pitching, and his pitching is only solid, not great, I think that's why he's going to be a 70 overall generational. What number what do you guys want? I always love numbers that I really like. I love the number 11. I love the number 5. I like the number 1 on players. 23 looks good. 99. I don't know. But he'll basically get his pick of any non-retired Colorado Rockies number. Caglione is hitting 397 to 14 home runs. Nice. Dang. For Florida, huh? I think this looks like a legit two-way prospect right there, for sure. Yeah, we'll take another look at his pitching because when we were looking at his pitching, I was assuming he wasn't a generational prospect. And then we looked at his hitting and we were like, oh yeah, he actually is. So we got to go back and actually look. 45. All right, I can see myself digging a 45. Probably once we draft him, I'll put it in a poll there so we can get a lot more votes because we have a decent amount. We got 25 people in chat right now. But we'll get probably a few more votes if I put it in like an actual video. All right. Let's go back to looking at Brian Doe. That's the whole reason we're here, right? We've been looking at pitching during our Brian Doe spotlights just because I wanted to get another look at our good relievers because we rarely get to. We're back to Brian Doe now. 0 for 3 today. There we go. Gets on base. So he'll keep the Isotope dream alive. We're not out of this one yet. Comes up clutch when we needed him to. And just because it's the last out of the game, we'll look at Ritter. Potentially the last out. If he extends the game, then we'll go back to simulating. Starting to get a stuffy nose every single time I stream, man. Hey, it's through! The question is, can Brian Doe score from first? He's got 92 speed, and that's going to be a walk-off single for Ritter. Brian Doe able to score from first. That's the kind of speed that he provides in our organization. Nobody else is above like 75 speed. I believe Ethan Salas is our second fastest prospect. But Brian Doe with 92 speed allows you to score from first on a play like that. Nicely done. A walk-off single. The first walk-off, actually, of this series. I'm not misremembering. Hagen Smith. What position does he play? Raiden Ward was 4 for 5 today. Jeez. We got a 2-inning win from Jeff Ramirez. Interesting. Let's watch some more Brian Doe. This will be the last thing we do is we'll watch a couple more games of Brian Doe. And then we'll take a look at our last week of scouting. And that will be where we end off this stream. Hard to follow up finding a two-way generational player, so I'm not going to try too hard to do it. We're going to look at probably the best position player we have in the minors, I would say, in Brian Doe. Kyle Brown's pretty close. Overall-wise, I think it's actually Sterling Thompson, though. A lot of his overall comes from defense, which, you know, defense is important. Smith is a lefty pitcher from Arkansas. Nice. 1.54 ERA, 7.43 WHIP. Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Ball four. Take your base. That's ball four. 3. Out.
Ryan Doe will have a man on and 1 out for his first AB. Tied for second on the Isotopes with his 4 home runs right now. Want to see him hit a homer right now. We haven't seen a minor league home run since, I think, Zach Veen back in episode 1. With 7 no-hitters as a high school senior. A second, my hair's bothering me. There we go. That'll fix it. This one gets through the infield for Doe. Starting the game off with a single. Oh, jeez. Pitching getting shelled right now. Thompson gets a single. It's fun kind of when you're doing a prospect highlight to see what the other high-level prospects are doing. Double play for Vane, jeez. Yeah, I think we got to trade Vane. It's unfortunate. I definitely thought he was going to be a long-term piece of our outfield. Back in episode 1, he just has been so bad offensively. And his defense is good, but it's not good enough to justify how bad he is offensively.
Ball, that's low.
Three 3-1 for Doe. Now we got ourselves a full count. Trade Veen for Lindsay. We can't. Lindsay's at the MLB already. We can't trade for guys at the MLB level. My own rule. And I would have traded for Lindsay in the offseason if he went to anyone outside of our division. I would have done it. That would have been our second trade. Would have been Jason Lindsay for sure. Center fielder of the future. But I kind of like the fact that, hey, we chose to pass on you. Now he has a chance to become a nuisance for us here in the series as a member of our division. Pretty much the same deal kind of with Nolan Jones. Just on the same timeline as our team is.
That pitch is in.
There we go. Doe draws himself another walk. Showing some good discipline here. 2 walks for Brian. I think his discipline's like 40. And his vision is like 40 something, low 40s. So I'll take it for sure.
You're out. Out. 3. Ball four. Take your base. Out. You're out.
The trade rule is because, it's basically to stay, because I'm calling this a draft-only franchise, right? And so trades technically aren't draft-only, so I'm imposing a restriction on the trade that I can only trade for prospects. So just nobody at the MLB level, pretty much. I talked about trades. If you came in the middle of the stream, once it's done, I would just recommend watching the first like 5 minutes, because I did talk about some trade options I'm really interested in at the top of the stream. There we go. Got some
Center fielder.
2-man on for Brian Doe. Now his clutch is only like 40, but because his contact's so low, that's actually not a bad deal for him to have his clutch in as well.
0-1's the count.
Yeah, it's to add a little bit of challenge and also to keep it as close to draft only as we can. And he's out of there. Still got him in scoring position though. Don't hate the decision there with 0 outs though. This one into foul territory. Hopefully that guy won't be able to catch it. And he did. Right at the wall. Dang.
The batter. The shortstop.
Unfortunate for us.
Three. You're out. 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 You're out.
Should get at least one more at bat for Doe in this game. Jeez. Our pitching is so bad.
You're out. Three.
We need some good pitching in this draft.
Three.
Need some guys that can come up to the MLB within a couple of years. We might even make our second trade for a pitcher like Dwayne Perry, like I showed at the top of the stream. So I spent a whole draft on pitchers last time, but we still need more. Especially because it doesn't seem like McGaffick is working out too incredibly well for us so far. He's already 23.
One ball, 2 strikes.
All right, Brian, let's hit a dinger, shall we? Bottom of the 8th, nobody on, no pressure, just smash one.
That's outside.
Going down swinging.
Ball 4, take your base.
And that should be the end of this one, I would assume.
3. That's ball 4. You're out.
We'll see just in case.
3.
Yeah, there's no way we're scoring 6 runs. Might get an extra at bat though.
3.
If Veen can do something here. And he can't, as usual. Why is Veen so bad? He's a 72 overall. He just can't hit. He did well at Double A in year 1. But he hasn't been able to hit at Triple A. Hasn't been able to hit the majors. Drew Jones. Almost traded for Drew. Decided to go for Salas instead because that's what you guys voted for. And I agreed. I wanted Salas a little bit more. I would have been fine with Drew though. Okay. I think we call it there. Don't want nope. Let's see if there's a critical situation in either of these games. Kyle Brown is injured, but just for a couple of days, no biggie. It's time to set scouting assignments. So this will be where we end. Will Abe doesn't look very good. I wanted to look at James Wood. We can look at that in just a second. I want to look at his pitching now that we know he's generational. So, assuming we're right and he is generational. Oh no, my camera's doing the thing where it follows me again. 1 second. Just got to do this real quick. Tell it to stop. Okay. Assuming he's generational, everything that you see right now will be 1 above his present max. So we'll have 76 stamina, 64 hits per 9. That's good. 50 strikeouts per 9. That's pretty much where Beretto is. 65 walks is good. Home runs per 9 at 45. That's a little sketchy. Gotta be honest. Control at 48 is okay. Velocity, we know he's not going to throw hard, but that's not the end of the world. 59 break. So that's actually pretty good. If we're under the assumption that he's generational, which I do think he is, hits per 9 and walks per 9 both in the mid 60s, strikeouts per 9 at 50, stamina in the kind of the mid to high 70s. Not bad. The only thing I really wish was higher was his home runs per 9. And then who knows? Maybe just because he's generational and to have fun, we can make him throw gas just for fun. I usually don't like to edit stuff like that, but with a 2-way generational, why not have some fun with it? I don't know. I'll leave that up to the comment section to decide as well whether we edit that. But I'm even liking what I'm seeing as a pitcher a little bit better than I was before. Now that we think he's generational, so I think Dorsey is going to just be awesome. Still not an ace, I don't think, from what I'm seeing here, unless we do upgrade and he throws like 100 miles an hour. But again, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about whether we should do that or not. But we know who's going at number 1. It's time to figure out who's going at the other spots. One guy, I know it's not going to be super popular here, but we're just going to do it. Because it doesn't look so far like we're finding a catcher that's going to be a good long-term option. What about Omar Figueroa as a short-term option? He's already going to be maxed out, but he could be a guy that can come in, already be in the 70s, play first base for us short-term. Be a 2 to 3 year option for us while we find a good first baseman to take over the reins eventually. Could be an option. So we're going to do that. We're going to keep these two the same for now. Now we'll look to see if Wood is in the NBA. In the MLB. He plays for the Nationals, who are right here. James Wood is at the MLB level. He is hitting 272 with a homer. 81 at bats. The last thing I want to do on the stream is let's see where everybody's stats. Simulated quite a bit of time here. Let's see where everybody's at. Murillo hitting 248, probably a little lower than I would have thought, but he does have 5 homers. His contact's going down by 1, but his power's going up by 3. Discipline is up by 2. Like to see that. Hopefully he can get that average up over time. Dollander, he's pitching very well at AAA. How much is his home runs going up? I think if we can get Dollander's home runs per nine to go up like 3 or 4, we give him a chance at the MLB again. Salas down to 237. Also has 5 home runs. So these guys' average have gone down quite a bit here. Unfortunately, we're not hitting for average right now. Kopech has been terrible, unfortunately. Had high hopes for him. He can still turn it around. He's only started 8 games. Jose Beretto. 4-0, 40 innings, 34 strikeouts, 13 walks, 180. You know what? What do you guys think? Should we call him up to AAA or should we wait? I'm going to ask that right now. I'm going to keep going through, wait. And once I see a couple of responses, I'll go back up and we'll decide whether or not to switch him. I think I'm willing to call him up to AAA quickly. Not that we're going to call him up to the MLB anytime soon, but getting up to AAA quickly, I think, could be good. Sterling Thompson's been terrible. He's not looking for a call-up anytime soon. Veen is actually on a hot streak, surprisingly enough. Still, his ratings are going down, though. He's not hitting lefties well, which is okay. If he can be a platoon righty guy for us, that could work out. Kyle Brown on the injured list just for a couple days, down to 287. His power's going up. That's what we're training him on. OPS in the mid-7s. He could get a call up to AAA soon as well. I'd like to maybe get that at-bats a little over 100, though. Brian Doe, 274, 5 homers. His power is actually going down by 1 against lefties, but his contact is up 3. OPS over 800. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Paul. Gonna be patient for him to get up all the way to the majors, but I think AAA seems... getting him up to AAA quickly seems reasonable, at least. Let's see. Anybody else pitching or doing really well? Juan Guerrero's doing pretty good over at second for us in AA. Only D potential, though, unfortunately for him. Jeff Ramirez having another good year at closer. Romo struggling at AAA. He's just going to be a defensive backup catcher for us at this point, I think. Not really much else we can hope for with him. Herb Reyes has been nuts. In 5 starts. He's 3-0. All 5 of his starts are quality starts. Has a complete game shutout that we accidentally simulated. Under a 1 ERA, under a 1 whip. My goodness. We're still really early in the season, but hopefully we start to see those things go up a lot more. I would love for him to have a fast track. Antone Hernandez, excuse me. His hits per 9 is going down. No. We can't have that. Antone. You're the only guy that throws gas in our whole organization, man. McCracken. 7.2 innings, 8 strikeouts. He's looking good. He's our AA closer this year. All right, so we had 1 vote pro sending him up and 0 votes against. So Jose Beretto. Let's see what you can do in AAA, my guy. Which means we're going to have to send one of our AAA pitchers down. Who will it be? We send McGaffick down, hoping it might help him out a little bit. That could be an option. That's what I'm going to do. Let's try to help McGaffick out a little bit by getting him back down to AA. So, there you have it. If we learned anything this stream, it's that the Rockies are about to add a 2-way generational player. The first one I've ever seen in the game by myself or really anyone else. I'm absolutely stoked. It's going to take every little bit of strength I have not to just simulate to the draft and get this guy on the team ASAP. But there's still a lot of things to go through in this season, and I'm excited to get through as well. Thank you all for joining me today, especially everyone who hung out with me in chat. Butters, Von Rye, Astrom, Ignatica, Paul, Jeffrey, Ian, all you guys hung out in chat. Make streaming a whole lot more fun. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow with the next episode. We'll be going through a bit of May, and I'll